Rajalakshmi Joshi, political analyst, also joins us now live. Rajalakshmi Joshi, the One Nation, One Election report being formally submitted to President of India, Draupadi Murmu. What happens next, Rajalakshmi Joshi?
Good morning, Uday. And yes, I think that this is a much needed move because, if you look at our country throughout the year, there are elections in some part of the country or the other, and it is a complete waste of national resources. And also, even it causes a lot of fatigue in the voters also. So, instead of that, I think, this is a very welcome move. And, most of the political parties have actually spoken in favor of the simultaneous elections, and there were only a few parties which said that they were concerned that the major national parties will benefit from this. So I think that most of the regional parties and most of the political parties being in favor of this, I think that this is a positive step, and hopefully we will have simultaneous elections, and it will be there will have to be a legal framework formed for holding these elections for different tiers of the administration of the government, and on the state level and the national level. So I think that it will definitely take some time, but this is a very positive step forward today.
Rajalakshmi Joshi is also with us on the broadcast, and of course we also have Himanshu Bhatt, senior journalist, joining us as well. Himanshu Bhatt, let me quickly bring you in here as well. Himanshu, this has been something that the Prime Minister has talked about for a while now. A committee was, of course, constituted under the leadership of former President Ramnath Kovind. That committee went into deliberations. They had multiple meetings, and now that report is ready, Himanshu Bhatt.
Report and what it plans to do, probably, once we go through the whole report and the findings come out, we'll know exactly. But the issue here is, a common man in any state of the country faces, 3 elections in 5 years. One is local body, one state, and one center. And in those 3 elections, means every alternate year there is an election. And in that election year, nearly half the year is spent for elections. Achar Sanhita and this and that, model code of conduct, and elections are coming, so nothing moves. So the administrative work was also delayed. Along with it, if you see the amount of expenses, which is to be tripled generally, one for the Lok Sabha, one for the Rajya Sabha, and one for the State Assembly and one for the local bodies. Now that all could be clubbed, so that will save a lot of money of the exchequer.
Yes, but Rajalakshmi Joshi, do you believe that this is now becoming the need of the hour? The Prime Minister has often spoken about, the reasons why he's been making this push for one nation, one poll. Do you believe the advantages outnumber the disadvantages? And across the political spectrum, do you believe that there will be reactions pouring in to this submission of the report now officially?
Yes, definitely, Uday. This is definitely going to be a game changer. But, just let me remind you that this is not something new, or this is not the first time that our country will be having this concept of one nation, one election. In fact, this was the norm before 1967. Yeah. Just for the benefit of your viewers who are not aware of it, or who, for people like me who are not born before that time, just let me tell them that this was the norm before 1967, and we had simultaneous elections of 1951, 52, in 1957, 1962, and 1967. But then some state assemblies were dissolved, and the Lok Sabha was also dissolved, and because of that, we had to go in for different states having elections at different times. And now this is also going to affect in terms of economics. If you look at the national economics, it affects some 10,000 crore of our national resources are spent in all these elections. So all of that, this thing about having simultaneous elections, we will have to, of course, work out a framework, like I was telling you. So immediately in 2024 elections, that is not going to be happening. But then by 2029, there will be this kind of a framework by which all the assemblies and all of that will have to be synchronized, and we will have simultaneous elections. So now, responses were invited from 47 political parties, out of which, as per the One Nation, One Election report headed by former President Kovind, there were only 15 political parties which have spoken against this particular concept. And the remaining 32 political parties have favored the system of simultaneous elections and also advocated its adoption for saving scarce resources, protecting social harmony, and stimulating economic development. That was the kind of a response from the rest of the political parties. Like Mr. Himanshu Bhatt was saying, and even I was telling you earlier, that there are some regional parties and there are some parties, of course, who have all these kind of fears and insecurities that this is going to give a boost or some advantage to the national parties. But at the end of the day, if you look at it, the voters today are very smart and they know whom exactly to vote for. They have different ideas for whom they want at the state level and whom they want at the national level. So I think that this is a very unfounded fear that some of these parties are having. But now, since this has gone forward, I think that this is definitely going to be implemented, and this is something that is definitely going to help. Like Mr. Bhatt was saying earlier, this thing about this Achar Sanhita, where this code of conduct, which stops all the work, which stops all the development work, and then you have to, everybody is just in campaigning mode. I think that kind of puts the entire nation, in a different mode altogether. So if you have this thing happening all the time, all the year, and some elections or the other, panchayat elections, state elections, national elections, and some state or the other, and all of that, instead of that, if we have one simultaneous elections like we had before 1967, I think that is a great step forward. And in fact, in 1983, the Election Commission had proposed this, but for whatever reasons, it didn't really go through. And I'm glad that it has happened now, because this is definitely going to save a lot of our national resources, and we can actually take steps to making sure that the development happens, and it is not just about elections. So ultimately, the elections are happening only because we want our representatives to be taking forward the development works.